Hola, and welcome to today's live. This is our second live here, of course, on your platforms. And on today's live, well, first of all, let's say this. We have some amazing tickets that we're giving away to our conference coming up September 20th. The first 50 people who sign up, and I'll say this, they're going fast. I can't predict, we'll let you know. The ticket sales will be going up sometime very soon right after. But until then, you do have a link to be able to get your own ticket, a promise for you to attend our conference, our annual conference. This is going to be our third year. It's going to be at the George R. Brown, so we can, of course, accommodate many, many more entrepreneurs. But with that being said, it looks like I feel like the community really wants this. And so I feel like first of all, there's a lot to talk about, but there is a link for you to actually come with us and attend it for free on our dime if you just fill out the form. So with that being said, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. And of course, our ever amazing entrepreneur, Andrea. So typically on the podcast, I give the floor to the person who we're doing the interview with. If you'd like to tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Andrea, and I'm with CasaQuest Mortgage. I'm a mortgage broker. First off, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you guys and talk about my business. I think it's an amazing opportunity, especially because I've seen how much growth the Latina leadership has had, and the fact that you're going into the George R. Brown Convention Center is amazing, and it's beautiful to see that platform for Latinas and entrepreneurs in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's all due to the amazing team. This is part of the team that you see here with Andrea, the other Andrea, and Edna. So you mentioned a little bit that you're a mortgage. Okay. Do you sell the house? Do you do the buying? What does that look like?
So with a mortgage broker, I am more in the numbers side. The realtor will take you to find your dream home. I help you figure out how much your dream home costs for you, like what each person can idealistically afford. So there's a main thing that I like to talk about is a lot of people don't know the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. With a pre-qualification, it is just based off of numbers and information you tell me, and I can just send you on your way. But with a pre-approval, I actually go deep dive into your numbers and pull your credit, see what is in your debt, if you can actually qualify. Because it's all said and done, you can tell me a bunch of numbers, and maybe you didn't realize you had a collection a few years ago, and your DTI, which is your debt to income, is a lot more than you realized. Or you have some student loans that you forgot that you had and you deferred them for a very long time. So that's why the importance of knowing the difference and getting a pre-approval rather than a pre-qualification is a lot better. A lot of people are afraid to get a pre-approval because they think it's going to affect their credit, but there's also two different types of credit pulls. You have a hard pull, which is a hard inquiry on your credit, and a lot of times can decrease your credit score. But with a soft pull, it is a soft check, so it does not affect your credit score at all, but I can still kind of see everything on the back end, what debts they may have, how much their credit is. And one thing that I've mostly noticed in the Hispanic community, because that is where my niche is speaking Spanish and speaking to Spanish borrowers. And the reason why I got into it was because I realized that there was a lot of misinformation and just not a lot of resources when it comes to financial education for our community. And that's one of the things that I like to do as well, is kind of do a deep dive. And I'm told a lot that I over explain things, but I think that when you buy a home, it's one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. When else are you going to take out $300,000 to buy something? Idealistically, not. Hopefully, I mean, some people many times in their lifetime, but for most of us, it's once in our lifetime. And knowing what it takes to go into it and actually making an informed decision is where I love to kind of give that information, because a lot of loan officers, they do explain, but whenever there's that language barrier, it's a little difficult to kind of like, okay, well, what's the difference between lender paid and borrower paid? If I end up doing this, my interest rate is a little higher, I'm going to pay thousands of dollars more in the long run, rather than if I knew this information up front, I would have just done this.
Okay, so you mentioned a soft pull and a hard pull, which can affect your credit score and your credit score. You know, credit is really hard to understand. There's so much information out there. One of the reasons that you want to have good credit is to get a good interest rate, right? Not a lot of people know that. It's like, yeah, you can probably purchase a home at having a high 600 credit score, absolutely. But what you might not have is an actual like really good rate for it, right? What's the difference? And sort of, I guess, well, two questions. One, how long does it take to actually either fix your credit or get your credit to a really good standing to be able to purchase a home? And what does a good credit number even look like? And how long does it matter how long I've had my credit score and how long I've had debt for, and like how good standing I am, and why all of these like different aspects of it? And I know it's a hard question, but since you've been at it for quite some time, can you just let us know a little bit, give us a little bit of secrets?
Yes. So with the credit, yes, it does affect how long you've had it. A good rule of thumb is about 3 years, but it also depends on the lender. So being a mortgage broker, I have access to a lot of different lenders who have different requirements, but that also depends on the type of loan. You have FHA, USDA, conventional, non-QM. So each one has their own guidelines. So yes, a lower credit score, you can qualify with a 500 credit score, but yeah, your interest rate's going to be maybe 1% higher than everybody else's. A good rule of thumb to get a good semi-good credit, a semi-good rate would be, of course, anything higher than 700. The good thing is with the systems that I have with a lot of the lenders that I work with, we have something called a rapid rescore. So if we have a borrower that's credit is 680, and to get them a better interest rate, we need them at around 700. We can do something called a rapid rescore and see where on their credit we can either lower their utilization on a credit card, have them pay it down, and that can increase their credit, or paying something off. So it really depends on each borrower. So that's the beautiful thing about the lending world as well, is everyone's situation is unique, and working with someone who can actually answer those questions with their unique situation is very important.
Yeah. You said earlier, that's one of the biggest purchases you're ever going to make, and hopefully you just make it once. But, some people like to move around. Sometimes their income changes a little bit. Either they lose children out of the house, so they want a smaller house, or they want to increase their household to have like an additional room to have the space to be able to hold everybody in. It's hard. It's really hard, and especially right now with the way it just looks. As y'all know, that like within the last 5 to 6 years, kind of the mortgages were all over the place. Everything was going down and up, and nobody could buy a house, but you wanted a house because you were able to get it at this percentage. And, that 1% of a difference in your rate makes thousands of dollars difference in how much you're going to pay. And so everybody wanted to buy a house, but so it's an uncertain space to be in, right? What would you say, and how can you either comfort for those who are looking to buy a new home, purchase a home, or maybe even decrease, right? They want to decrease what they're like, they didn't have a fixed, like a secure rate. So now it's fluctuating. And now they're like, okay, well, now I need to buy a house that has a secure rate, or what can you say in this, like, this housing market at this moment, and maybe for the next however long it takes? In true honesty, I think it's going to be more than 5 years for it to like kind of balance itself out a little bit. That's just, and I know nothing. This is coming from a person who has no idea what she's doing. I don't know my credit score either, right? So what would you say to those looking to purchase a home, who want to grow their house, or want to move out of their mom's house and buy their house because they're going to get married next year?
Yeah, so that is a very important question, and I love that you asked that, because that is actually the concern of a lot of people. The housing market recently, of course, has been, thankfully now it's been stable.
Yeah.
The last month, every time I was checking the interest rates for like conventional loans, it was 1% higher, and then 2 days later it was like 1% lower, and I'm like, lock your rate now because it's good now. I don't know if it's going to go up later. And so the good thing is with rates is one of the things that I say a lot is date the rate, marry the house. Housing market, the houses and the properties are always going to go up in value. So if someone is ready to buy now and it isn't within their budget and they can afford it and they're ready to do it, that is the best time to do it. Because like I said, property values are always going up. So yeah, maybe you were waiting for that 2% interest rate, which ideally I would love for that to happen, but I don't foresee it happening at least anytime soon. But right now, the rates, depending on the type of loan that you're getting, they're actually not that bad. A few years ago, they were at 13%. I want to say about 10, 20 years ago, they were at 13%. But the property values were a lot lower, which in turn, if you start saying, well, I'm going to wait another 2 years until the interest rates come down, those houses that you were looking at, well, now they cost like $50,000, $60,000 more, and you could have built that equity rather than waiting. So you could have made money, but now you kind of lost that opportunity.
I can think of it like that. I could have built equity into my house, had that money locked and saved into like owning the property, and then relinquishing it when I wanted to sell a house, if I wanted to sell the house. You know, committing to owning a home is a lot. And it's quite heavy. And so I don't have to say a lot because my two co-hosts here who are much younger than I am, I don't know how they feel about all of that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off of this because I learned all of this within like the last 2-3 years, right? Again, I know nothing still, right? So I'll pass the mic over to either to Andrea or Edna if y'all have any questions that y'all like to ask her, because I can ask these questions about home mortgages because I myself, you know, in the near future need a house. Ladies?
I can go. You know, like, especially, you know, right now, there's been a lot of surge of first-time homeowners. So I was wondering, like, your experience with them and, like, what type of advice would you have somebody who's looking to buy a house for the first time?
Advice would be understand where you are financially. Like I said in the beginning, having that pre-approval, knowing where you stand, what you can afford, and the opportunities and the resources that are out there. There's down payment assistance, there's grants, there's actually even assistance for people with Section 8, and they can use that to qualify to actually purchase a home as well. And it's resources like that that I like to talk about because they don't know that it's available. Down payment assistance, there is a lot of different types of down payment assistance where you can make, usually there's a minimum of about $120,000 depending on the area, because every zip code or every county has a different minimum. But rule of thumb is about 80 to 120 minimum. But there are actually resources for people that make more than that for down payment assistance. But understanding where they are at financially now, and even more so what they want in the future. Because like Angelica said, she doesn't know if you're going to live in there forever, if they're going to downsize. I work with first-time home buyers who want to start investing in real estate. So with the loans like FHA and conventional USDA, not USDA, but with the VA, you can purchase 1 to 4 unit properties, lease out the other properties, live in one, and offset the mortgage, which is a great opportunity for people who want to start investing. So knowing what their long-term goals are is what's very important for first-time home buyers.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Also, I wanted to ask also about, you know, your involvement with the community and, you know, giving financial education, something, you know, especially in the, you know, community, sometimes we're kind of left to the wolves to figure it out, you know, like that happened to me too, like a bit, like when I was getting my first credit card, like my parents didn't know how to explain to me because they'd already gone through that process like such a long time ago. They're like, you just get it. And then I was like, oh, but yeah, no, like how do you help the community? Can you go more into depth with that?
Yes, so I actually offer free workshops, seminars, and webinars for first-time home buyers, investors, and also partner with different people in the community who do credit repair, financial advisors, so that and these are in Spanish and in English, so I offer both. So anyone for families that don't speak English and still need that resource, like I said, in our community, there's not as much resources that we would like, so that's why I wanted to kind of pour my cup in there a little bit more. And I offer first-time home buying seminars, workshops for investors. When I partner with other financial advisors or credit repair companies, it's so that they can start talking about how to repair your credit, how to start investing, how to start working on your long-term financial goals.
That's great. I really like what you're doing with communities. We do need that help, you know, like there's always like I've had a lot of friends like trying to look and getting a house for their first time. They're always trying to look for resources. I'm glad I'll be able to refer to you as one of those resources. So that's great. I'll pass it on to Edna if you have any questions.
Yeah. And I do want to echo off of Andrea. Like, I do love the fact that you do offer those resources, especially for some of us who, like, for me, for example, first generation born here, like learning all about it. So thank you for offering those resources. But then I also saw that you dip your hand in multiple streams of things that you do, financial education alongside of the resources with the home owning, and then the loan processing. What is advice for people who have these multiple skill sets on how to handle everything that you've done to be able to organize yourself with everything that you do? Because you seem to be very busy with all of everything you're handling in your business.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I have my village and I'm very grateful for my village. My parents have been a very great, not just resource, but just a lending and helping hand. I actually got into the industry because my mother has been in real estate for about 25 years. My dad was in mortgage as well. And what kind of made me fall in love with the industry was in 2008, when a lot of loan officers were being loan sharks and lending a bunch of money to people that didn't qualify. My dad was actually working on loan modifications, helping people who were losing their homes and let them know that there is an opportunity to not go into foreclosure and keep your home. So watching both of them help the community and be so amazing is like, okay, I want to follow in those footsteps. My dad has recently retired and he kind of gave me the reins and he's just like, you should start your company. I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll do it. So having they believe in me so much that for the longest time, I didn't believe in myself. And I was just like, okay, you see something in me that I don't see, but I'm starting to see it. When I started my business, I started to see it as well. I'm actually a single mother. I have a 5-year-old and he has autism. I homeschool him and he is my driving source. So I want to show him that he has a strong mama that can pass on the company to him later. But my village is what's helped me a lot.
Just really quick before I follow up question, Edna, for those who don't know, again, we have those tickets and we have very limited supply. Right? We have a very limited spots for that. So if you're on the live now, there is a link that's going to be dropped. And make sure you click that link. Make sure you answer all the questions so you can save your spot. Again, as always, every year we do it much better. It is going to be a little bit bigger. Of course, there's limitations to how much and how many. So if you're on the live now, there is a link that's going to be dropped. Make sure you click that link.
Thank you for that, Angelica. So yeah, like she mentioned before, don't forget to click on that link to be able to get those tickets for the conference coming up on September 20th. But Andrea, so I love that you have that community in that village and that your parents were the ones who inspired you to do what you do now. Do you also have resources? Like, do you also provide people that help with they want to follow in your footsteps, just like you do with your son?
Resources for if I'm looking to hire or
no, for like education, for like business education with finances and real estate.
Yeah, so like most of the resources, the education that I do, like I said, there's different credit repairs. I have home buying seminar scheduled for the 7th and then the following week. And then I also have a 1031 exchange class on June 11th, which is about, if you don't know what the 1031 exchange is, usually for savvy investors, but it is information that I would like for the public to kind of just understand that not just the rich need to know about this. It's so it's, a lot of people say eat the rich. I say be like the rich and think like the rich. There's a lot of tax moves that you can do and tax deductions if you're a business owner. That's another thing that we do as well that I co-host with my mother, which is in Spanish, where we offer free classes to how to start your business. So it's a full 1-month workshop. For those who sign up, you learn what the difference between a DBA, an LLC, an S Corp, and a C Corp is, and what the benefits are for each of them. And for people that are starting their business, what they need to do in order to be tax compliant so that they're not seeing I owe how much to the IRS? How can I deduct this? And talk about what they can and can't deduct.
Sorry, I had my mic off. That's really good information. Okay, so my follow-up question is, if I am looking to buy a home and I need a mortgage broker, or say I'm a real estate agent and I'm looking for a new broker to go to, for a new mortgage person to actually, where can I find you, Andrea?
You can find me. I have different ways you can find me.
Okay.
I have my Instagram, which I'm very active on, especially responding, which is ensure your future with an underscore. My phone number is 832-319-9779. Or you can also email me, which is andrea@casaquestmortgage.com, which on my website, you can actually find all of my website, my workshops, my webinars, and any extra information along with the programs that I offer, which is CasaQuestMortgage.com.
Nice. What advice would you give to new real estate agents?
To new real estate agents, that's a good question. I feel like to new real estate agents, you do you. Everyone, you're going to find someone that's going to need to find a house. They are going to need to trust you. You just show them your value, because we all have our own unique value. Just because maybe someone doesn't need your help, maybe that other person needs your help. So it's all about marketing yourself in the best way and how you can be valuable and a resource to other people as well, which is where I can also come in, because I also help real estate agents with different flyers or co-hosting open houses, introduce them to other people. I also host networking events for real estate agents or real estate industry people. And one thing that I love doing when I'm networking is when I talk to someone. So let's say someone said, oh, I'm a realtor, and then I met an investor. You know what? I just met Sally over there. She's an investor. That would be an amazing person for you to talk to. Come here, go meet her.
You know what? Thank you for stepping in and making sure you take that mentorship for a lot of young ladies, and especially women of color, to be able to, because they need it. We need all the support we can possibly potentially give. And of course, with people who have the experience, there's so much more that you can teach that you didn't even know you could teach. You just kind of learned by either watching or example, or I don't know, or how to, como se dice, a panzazos, we kind of learn things, right? And so, but we don't all need to learn like that. And so I really, really admire women who step in and start teaching the younger generation, or even the older generation, or anybody who wants to step into the industry and actually just really mentor, be a really good example of what our potential is and what we can do when we unite and we get together. Of course, juntas, we can do so much more. So with that being said, Andrea, we could talk about mortgages and credit all day long, but you got a family you got to get to. I want to thank you so much for coming on this live today with us. As mentioned, there's a link that's going to be dropped. If you don't have the opportunity to sign up to that Google Sheet to get your own free tickets, we will release them. You'll let you know when, but of course you have to watch this live. Andrea, one last time, where can we find you?
You can find me at CasaQuestMortgage.com, or you can give me a call. If you're looking to join the industry as a loan officer, I actually offer classes and can send you out to Detroit, all expenses paid, so that you can get licensed.
That's amazing. Good job. Great. So yes, so make sure you hit up Andrea at andreacasaquestmortgage.com. With that being said, ladies, so the editor knows we are completely done with this live. Let's go ahead and wave at that camera.